ankle flexibility or lack thereof. If you've been struggling to get into this kind of a deep sit where you're bending from your ankle and you're not having your heels up off the ground, we'll try and work on that a little bit today. So you can try and come down into this position, even if that means you're up here. Catch a hold of hopefully a chair or something that you can hold onto a bench and pull yourself into that position without letting the heels lift. So you're driving the heel down into the surface, whatever you're on, and you're pulling yourself forwards. And then you're holding that for as long as you can, up to about 20 seconds, or you can do a little less, let go, and then repeat that again. And then try and do that while spreading out the toes, so getting them stretched out, and then do the same thing again and get a little bit of stretch through the foot. You can also do these one-sided, so I'll give you a one-sided version. So there's two ways of doing them. One-sided, you can just keep one leg there and bring the other one in behind you, so you're getting a stretch in the front of the shin on that one. And then you can use your own hands to press down. So if you don't have a surface, you can use your own hands here, or you can lean yourself onto the leg. And again, try driving the heel down into the floor and spreading out the toes, leaning as far forward. Again, you might find that your foot has to be here or even further forwards or further back for you to get a stretch, so wherever it needs to be to get a stretch. If you find that too difficult on this knee, you can do that with, again, on a chair with one foot off, and then you're just doing the leg that you're working on. So then you can bring whatever leg onto the chair you're working on and leave the other one just out to the side and work on this one. And again, you can use, if it's a chair, the chair to pull yourself down into it. Then from there, we'll move the ankles by themselves. So getting them to flex and then getting them to point and making sure we're pulling up, and you should be able to feel that right up under the knee. So flexing and pointing. Careful we don't bend at the toes. So we pull up through the ankle and we avoid flexing at the toe joint. So toe joints would be pulling in there, and then ankle joint would be keeping the toe joint relaxed and bending in there. You can alternate them, do them at the same time, whatever works for us there. And those things you can do first thing in the morning before we ever get out of bed. Lifting up into a bridge, and again, start with the one-sided ones. And once you're happy, you can hold a bridge. Now, quite important that when you've got calves that feel like they're overused, often it's an underusing of the glute muscle that causes that. So if we're sitting on our glutes a lot. So rolling up, using the calf, but keeping the hips up through the glutes. So one at a time or both at the same time. Rolling up, holding that for a moment, and down. Nice and steady so it doesn't feel like the ankle wobbles on the way up or down. One more time. And then just come back down for a moment. And we'll do the other direction, pulling the toes up, or the whole front of the foot up. Again, at the ankle joint. And then we'll do the same thing in the bridge. So back up, ankle joints. And again, you can do them one at a time, or you can come up into a bridge with the ankles bent, keep them bent, tap down, and bridge back up. So you can do that a few times. You can relax the feet in between if you need to. Otherwise, bridging up and back down with the toes in the air. One more time. And thinking of that connection between the calves and ankles and glutes. So when we've got ankle stuff going on, usually there's some glute stuff going on. So working from the glutes. So from there, we'll do extensions for the glutes, turning over and lifting the leg from the glute. So making sure that when we pick up or extend backwards as we walk or run, we're using the glute muscle to pick up the leg and then bring it back down. As we do that, pull up the stomach muscles. So you want to feel like you've got these engaged during that lift up, so that you're not letting the back arch and take your movement, but you're getting the movement from your glute. Again, you can alternate at the start, and you can do these standing as well. A bit difficult sometimes to control standing, but more accurate in a way because that's how we would walk. So that's our extension part of our walk. You pull your leg behind you or you'll run. And then again, both. So again, when we do both, make sure we've got those stomach muscles pulled in. Both lifting up and back down. And then we can do the same thing with a bent knee. So bending in the knee, you'll get a little bit more hamstring recruited and extending up. And again, stomach muscles pulled up as we lift. And then switching sides. One more. And then both of them. So when we do both, we can take the knees a little bit wider, turn the toes out, bend at the ankle and press the heels together. And then before you lift up, squeeze the heels towards each other, squeeze the glutes towards each other, and then pull up the stomach muscles and pick up. Breathing out as we pick up. And avoiding a pull or push into that lower back. There will be muscles working, and that's fine, they'll stabilize the lower back for us. But stomach muscles pulled in, glutes lifting. One more time. And back down. From there we can sit ourselves back and just get that stretch through the front of the shins. So if you find that's difficult to do all the way back, you can stay here. Or if you find you can sit all the way back. Or if you can sit all the way back and that's easy, then you can bring your knees up off the ground and roll onto the front of the ankles. You might want to do that one at a time, especially if you've got something going on one leg that's maybe not going on the other side. Or if you feel you can pick them up both. So see if that works. You want to keep your heels quite close together so they're not rolling outwards. One more time. And then from there, bring ourselves onto the toes and stretch back through the toes. Now again, you can maybe stay up here, or if you can sit back and try and push back through the toes and even roll back and forth through them a little bit. See if you can again use something to push off. And you can do them one at a time if you want as well. So sitting back and just finding a spot where you're getting a stretch through the front of the toes. And again, you want to avoid your heel rolling out, so trying to pull your heels in, roll them towards each other, even try to touch them off each other and sit back through those. And you can do variations of those. You can obviously do them in a plank position and things like that as well. So if you find these are too easy, go into a full plank position and stretch back to the toes that way. So from there we'll do a little bit of work through the feet. So we'll use the feet to roll up. So rolling up just one. And I'll do this both directions so you can see you want to avoid the ankle going left or right. So rolling straight up and back down so that the ankle comes up over, or your knee comes up over your second and third toe. So if you're looking down, you're watching your knee go over your second and third toe. That would be your knee going out over your little toe. That would be your knee going in over your big toe. So we're trying to get it to go straight up. So your hips are telling your knee and your ankle where to go. And then of course you can do both at the same time. Rolling up as far as you can control. So that might be a small bit of a roll, that might be a bit higher, that might be right up onto your tippy toes. So whatever works for your calves there. So if you find you have a bit of tightness in them or they're starting to cramp up, make sure you use your glutes. So there's a glute squeeze as you come up. There's also a bit of a squeeze into your stomach muscles. So you're trying to control that from the middle. And then you find you should be able to roll up a little bit steadier. And then you can do that one-legged without the help. And again, you might have to start small and then find your way up as you go. So getting that to roll up a little bit higher each time. And still trying to control where the knee is tracking. You might not be able to look down, so a mirror can come in handy here. or if you've got good perception of where your leg is. So one leg, and you can put your foot wherever you want. You can also have your toe on the floor if you need for a little bit of assistance. Rolling up. Again, glutes and stomach muscles engaged. One more. And then working on controlling the knee trajectory. So have a foot and then have a step down beside it. So the steps the stairs will do, or any kind of, again, a chair will work here as well. And then you're working to get the knee to go over the second and third toe as you drop down and come back up. So you're trying to control that through the hip and the knee. You should be able to see that your knee is over your second and third toe. Start your bend at the hip, so sticking your bum out, and then working to just bend as far down as you can, dropping the foot to wherever and back up. So awareness of where your knee is tracking to, and then try and see if you can bend that into the ankle as far as the ankle will go, again without lifting the heel. So do one more on that side, and then switch. A little bit in from the side so you're not going to fall off. Make sure your foot is learning to grip the ground, and then find your balance, drop back through the hip and bend in at the knee, and then come back up, dropping back the hip, sitting into that and back up. And you're just trying to get the other leg to go down. Don't drop the hip there, make sure you've got control through the stomach muscles, and that would then eventually become something like a pistol squat or one-legged, anything that you need. So going downstairs, we need to be going on one leg, so not as extreme as this. It's a way of working on it. One more. Pressing back up. And then we'll come back to our original position and see if we can get down. So hips back, bend at the ankle, make our way down into our squat from earlier. Have our hands out here wherever they're comfortable. And then see if we can do what I've been doing on some of the videos, is to reach forward, as far forward as we can, and then drop back. You might have to have your hands higher or lower down so you get a sense of sort of touching the floor. Reaching forward and then rocking back. Try to pull the knees forward over the toes. So all the muscles from the toes up are working to pull the knees up over them. So everything at the front here is trying to pull your knee forward. And then those are releasing. Control the drop back as far as we can. Back up. And even just getting into a position of a squat. Even if your squat is here throughout the day, work your quads harder when you're here. So it's not a bad thing. So you can get into that position throughout the day as often as you can. So make an excuse, get your shoes on that way, get yourself into that kind of a position. Or if you feel you're up here, it's fine as well. You work the quads a little bit more.